Hey, welcome to the Scott Ferrell Show. Thanks so much for stopping by and joining me. You picked the right day today. I've been sneezing. I didn't realize this was in the camera. That's all right. I would rather have that than me sneeze all over everything. It's been one of those days, and we still have pollen here in the great state of Georgia. Thanks so much for being today. It's going to be great because I have one of my dear friends. He's a brother from another mother, but he's also one of the top nutritional experts in the United States. I just don't have my friends on because we have a buddy network. My friends just happen to be the experts in the world. And the cool thing was, we were both at a conference in Dallas when we met. I was the MC, he was a speaker, one of the best speakers over the weekend. And I learned a lot from him then, still do. Still my go-to for nutrition, diet, exercise, life in general. I just wish he lived closer. So maybe we can move him here. He's in the South, just not in the South where I live. He is in the southern part of the United States, just a little farther west than we are here from Georgia. Don't forget, we're powered by my sponsor, Dirt Poor. Got my fingers over that. Coffee. Great folks, great coffee, natural coffee, which I like. I don't like all the other stuff that's in coffee. I always stop by every single day, say hello to the girls. I get my fill up of coffee because I'm a coffee person. But it's good times there, wonderful people, food's great. They have sandwiches, coffee, cakes, and muffins, which I don't get to eat, but everybody else does, and everybody seems to like them. So next time you're in Summerville, Georgia, stop on by, tell Heather and the girls I said hello. All right, now let's get to my guest today. His name is Frank Tortorici. Let me go ahead and get you his website. It's Fit Over Pharma. That right there should tell you a lot about Frank right there. But he's my go-to when I need information. So just like you, I'll go to Frank's website, or I'll go to YouTube, or I'll go over to social media and watch what he's filmed. Very informed. It's a picture of Frank up on the screen. Let's go ahead and get Frank here, and let's go ahead and get started because we have so much to talk about. Frank, so much for coming by today.
Thank you, Scott. Always a pleasure to connect with you.
All right, we've got to start with your story because your story is so phenomenal. When I met Frank, he was speaking at the National Tourette's Conference. I happened to be the MC, and he was telling his life story. Frank used to have Tourette's, and he was able to overcome it. Let's spend about 5 minutes on your story, Frank. Give us the diagnosis to how you overcame it.
Sure. Yeah, well, when I was 8 years old, my parents, as a typical child at that age, growing up in the 80s, I was born in 78, took me for my annual wellness visits. And I was in the doctor's office, and that day I received not one, not two, but three shots that day. And by the time the third shot entered my body, almost instantly started going into uncontrollable seizures right in the doctor's office. Of course, back then, the doctors kind of downplayed it. And obviously, parents weren't educated on the topic like we can all be today, since we have information at our fingertips. Was told to go home and just rest. It's just his immune system responding.
Nice.
The seizures lasted for about it was a couple of days, and then once that subsided, about a week or two later, I was a very avid baseball player. I was a pitcher, and I was on the pitcher's mound, and all of a sudden I started almost like seizuring again after it had stopped. My shoulder, my head, and I couldn't control it. Called timeout. Coaches come to me. What's wrong? I'm like, I don't know. I can't control this. So long story short, they pulled me out of the game. And of course, my parents at that point started taking me to different types of neurologists. Went back to the primary care doctor, a pediatrician, then got to see different neurologists, therapists. And it took I think it was about 3 or 4 doctors that all concluded that I now had Tourette syndrome. So, anyone looking at me on camera right now, I still suffer with it. I still, you'll see my head and, things like that. It's much more subtle than it was when I was a child. Obviously, it was a lot more debilitating when I was a child, although I did a really good job at hiding it when I was a kid. But because of that hiding, it caused a lot of inner turmoil.
Yeah.
The way I describe my childhood, it's like it's like having cancer of your soul. It's
Yeah.
like people can't see the pain that you're in. They don't know the demons that you're fighting. They don't know the struggle every day to smile and go through the motions. So that was my diagnosis of Tourette's, and that's how it all happened. And I always tell people this. The crazy thing about it all. I grew up in Long Island, and I always ask people this, like, how many people do you know with Tourette syndrome? I mean, and for most people, it's, they can count on one hand. It's very few, like very few. It's not although it's becoming more and more common today, and we can get into
Yes.
probably what the reasons why. But growing up, I knew, and I still know of, roughly including myself, about 7 males, all within a 3-mile radius, all within like a 4 to 5 year demographic with Tourette syndrome. And ironically, the year that happened, that's 1986. That's the same year in 1986 that the Reagan administration had to sign the Vaccine Liability Act to grant all of the manufacturers full liability from being sued. So there was a lot going on in the downline of immune boosters at that time, for sure.
Oh yeah, what people don't know probably is my degree is in special needs populations and behavior,
Hmm.
and one of my expertise was Tourette syndrome, and my mentor's expertise. It's funny, Frank. We wept because they thought I had bipolar disorder. Turns out I
Hmm.
have Asperger's.
Mm.
So it's amazing. What a misdiagnosis. I actually went to a psychologist and said, I think they've got it all wrong. Here's what I'm seeing. Here's the data. We went through the whole thing, and she goes, I do believe you are correct. And of all
Mm.
things, I had an intervention staged at my high school by all the kids with autism. I came to school one
Hmm.
day. They were there. They said, Mr. Ferrell, we need to talk. They turned on the lights and said, sit down, here's some coffee. We need you to acknowledge that you have Asperger's, and we want you to go ahead and admit it so you can be free and so you can just not have to hide from it anymore.
Mm.
I threw them all out and thanked them, and that was the end of that. But it's funny
Mm.
how, why am I saying that? The misdiagnoses.
Yeah.
We know what causes most of this stuff, and you and I have talked about this endlessly off camera about it.
Hmm.
Like, how did I get misdiagnosed? Well, you got to have a blood, saliva, or urine test. We've got to have some biology to back up everything that we diagnose people with. We have the
Right.
biology to back up what happened to you,
Right.
which leads me to my next question, because this is a quest that you are on. Folks, if you're smart, go to YouTube and watch all of Frank's videos. Frank, where else can they find you? What other platforms
Yeah,
are you on?
YouTube I'm less active on just because of the censorship over the
Right.
years, but you'll find most of my recent work on Instagram and Facebook. Um, Instagram, it's at Fit Over Pharma, and Facebook is under my name, but it's backwards. It's Tortorici Frank, and then I also have a Fit Over Pharma page on Facebook as well. And I also have a weekly podcast with my co-host Sarah Green. She's a physician's assistant. She's one of those frontline doctors throughout COVID.
Yeah.
But we have a podcast called the Overstood Human Podcast where we address everything that you could imagine that we're touching on today: mindset, faith, you name it. So either one of
Yeah.
those platforms, you could find my work for sure.
Yeah, before we get to the newest and greatest vaccination, let's get
Yeah,
back to how you started to overcome everything: diet, nutrition,
yeah,
working out. Can you go through how you handled that?
yeah. I mean, working out was my saving grace because at that point, I lost the passion for baseball when that incident happened. I think I lasted another year or two, and then little by little, I just lost that passion. I started craving something that was more self-confidence building, and
Right.
baseball just wasn't doing that for me anymore. And ironically, in that time frame, I had a cousin who was a natural competitive bodybuilder. Uh, Went to one of his contests, and that really just kind of lit me up in the sense of like, again, I wanted something that I was in control of,
Right.
that I could say I'm doing this, that there's no one else to rely on. At that, I was a young kid, and I think I was craving that structure and discipline in my life already at such a young age. So working out gave me that. It saved my life in a sense because it gave me the confidence to show up to school another day, hold my head up high, and walk with confidence. Um, and I remember a big influence for me at the time was when we were in school. We had the presidential physical fitness test,
Yeah.
and And I remember that I was really motivated, that I wanted to really kick butt on that. And I just went home. My dad bought me a pull-up bar to put, between the door jamb there, and just started practicing. And then that led to, like, 5-pound dumbbells, 10-pound dumbbells, push-ups, and it just started transcending to becoming, I'll be 48 years old this July. And literally resistance training, exercise, fitness has been a part of my life since probably I started, which was in late seventh, early eighth grade. And it's just something that I have to do on a daily to weekly basis. It's my sanity, it's my confidence booster, and it's what brought me here to do what I do. To what I the I always Tourette's is something that almost took me out as a kid due to
Right.
depression and not wanting to be here. But now that I'm an adult and, I still suffer with it and it causes pain and anguish at times,
Right.
I've realized that it was kind of my golden bridge in a sense. It was in a weird way God's blessing of working things out to because I've had the opportunity to help so many people. I mean, I've been coaching since 1997, so we're talking, close to three
Right.
decades now. So I've had the opportunity to help so many people. So I always kind of tell myself, if I had to go through that pain and suffering and still go through it in order to deliver this message of Fit Over Pharma, then, I consider myself, I'm a disciple of Christ, and I'm trying to do God's work and be a beacon of light in a very corrupt, dark time of our world when it comes to medicine, health, politics, and everything in between.
Yeah, we're definitely living through Matthew 24. Let me ask you about your mom and dad. I know
Yeah.
when I got into bodybuilding like you did, I'm significantly older than you are. My
Mhm.
parents thought I was nuts. How did your mom and
Yeah.
dad, your dad got you a pull up bar. How did they respond to you
Yeah.
wanting to hit the gym all the time?
Well, they were very supportive of it because of my cousin, my dad's first cousin, which this was his son. He was, a competitive power lifter. He actually
Right.
was business partners with Lou Ferrigno, in one of the gyms in
Wow.
Brooklyn back in the day.
Wow.
So yeah, so my dad, was very receptive to it, and my parents, I think, they were able to witness what this was doing for me, as far as confidence. So yeah, they were very supportive. I mean, once I outgrew the little area in my room, I remember that Christmas, my dad bought me a Solo Flex machine.
Oh, wow.
Um, and then from there, it just transcended into the gym. And then, I was so young that my dad literally had to come and sit with me into the gym because I was under 18. I mean, I did my first bodybuilding contest when I was 15 years old. So here's a kid. I was literally going to the gym before school to do my cardio, then go to school all day, then come home, eat, whatever, rest, go back to the gym, do my resistance training for the day, posing routines, the whole kit and caboodle. But at that age, my dad had to, I had to go to work, come home, and work all around that just to be there to sit with me because they wouldn't allow anybody under the age of 18 to be there by themselves at that time, which is still kind of the
Yeah,
normal
it
go-to
is.
in the gym for liability reasons.
Yeah.
So they were very supportive,
Yeah.
100%.
I asked that question because Frank has the coolest parents. And are they well now? How are they doing?
They're doing good. Thank you. Yep. They're
Yeah,
doing really
yeah.
good. They're
Because
doing
Frank
good.
told me the story about his folks, and I was like, man, he had the coolest parents. I wish they would have
Yeah.
been mine.
Yeah.
Let me
They're
ask you
great.
this question, because you have got
Mhm.
a little one now. How old is he now?
He'll be 8 in July as
All
well.
right, so I've
Yeah.
got a feeling he likes to do the cold plunge with dad. He likes to do everything dad
It's
does.
awesome. It's awesome. Well, I'll tell you right now, it's just you learn as you go through the phase of being a parent, right? And
Right.
what I've realized as a parent, this is what I try to. I actually wrote a book that came out last year called "Discipline Has No Days Off." I'm a dad, and anybody that's interested in that, you can contact me directly. I don't have it up on the web anymore,
Right.
but I wrote this book. It's an ebook because there's so much I learned just throughout the short amount of time of being a father. And one of the things that I realized is that as parents, we don't have the luxury to take a day off because our kids are watching.
Yep.
And I've learned that so much through this journey of fatherhood, to the point where since basically my son was 2 when COVID hit. So I had the fortune of like transferring my whole in-person business to online, which it still is. I'm still 100% virtual in my business. All of my
Right.
coaching is all online. So I didn't miss any of his childhood. Um, but because this is what he sees dad do all day long, talking about this, if I'm not in the room on Zoom with somebody, I'm shooting content. Then he sees me editing the content, so he gets inspired. If I'm done shooting a video, he wants to put the mic on, and then he just jibber jabs. Does he does he has stepped into the ice bath willingly. Now he's going through a phase where he's completely been obsessed with. He's been in jujitsu since he's 4, so he's been in
All
jujitsu for
right.
4 years now, 4 days a week. He's almost at his gray and white belt,
All
but he's
right.
obsessed with Bruce Lee. So this has been a beautiful thing because I've purchased him books. We're watching documentaries on
Right.
him, and just to explain to him, to get him to understand the art of martial arts, but now the philosophy of it. Because as we
Yeah.
know, Bruce Lee was such a deep dude, and
Yeah.
I mean, every night before we go to bed, he has a poster in his room. I have him read the Be Water quote, and we
I
read
was
it every
wondering,
night before we
did
go to
y'all
bed.
watch it together? Did you watch the
The,
film?
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
figured.
So he has a
Yeah.
big poster in his room that I purchased for him a couple of months ago. And when he wakes up in the morning and before he goes to bed, I make him read it every night. So to be able to have these deep philosophical questions about life and what it means to adapt, and defeat is a state of mind.
Yeah.
All this has just been an amazing journey for me as a father, to be able to share this with him and see how it's impacting him already, you know?
I do have a question. Does Nicole jump in there with y'all?
She does. She does, yeah. She gets in, but she'll hold on and keep her feet out. She can't. Um, but she's more of like, she'll do it now this time of the year when it's warm. It's something I do 4 days a
Oh,
week,
yeah.
no matter what.
Yeah, it's if you
There's
want a
no
funny
questions.
video, go watch Brian Shaw's wife try to get in the cold tub with him. He's
Okay.
in, he's laid back. If you don't know who Brian Shaw is, folks, 4-time world's strongest man, amazing dude. His wife decided to get in the cold tub with him. I can't even say it was so funny watching her get in. I've not perfected the cold tub yet, but I do the cold showers.
It's amazing.
Yeah,
It's
so
amazing.
if you've never done it, it's invigorating. It's hard to explain what it feels like. Once you get out, it can be excruciating while you're in it, but once you
Yeah.
get out, you've never felt that good. It's
Yeah.
amazing
And
the relief.
the relief, it's an amazing tool, believe it or not, as a pre-workout tool. There's a lot of science now showing how it actually helps to increase testosterone.
Yep.
Your workouts are night and day when you get out of that thing, dry off, and go right into a workout. The biggest thing that I love about it, I always tell people, the ice bath for me is like what Mr. Miyagi was to the Karate Kid. And what I mean by that is, you never get used to it. I mean, I have
No.
a custom made tub. It sits at 31, 32 degrees all year round, no matter what the temperature is outside. So you never get acclimated to something that cold.
No.
So every day I hate it. Like, I don't want to do it. So, and when you learn how to find a breathing pattern in something where your brain is like, oh my God, and you learn how to like, you start noticing that when life gets stressful, your brain is automatically like, oh, stress, breathe,
Yeah.
breathe, just calm down. So it's an amazing teacher. I mean, there's so many physical benefits, but I love the psychological benefits more than anything. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's always amazing to watch your old videos when you guys lived in Idaho. And
Yeah.
Nicole would be filming you getting in the lake after you
Yeah, in
chipped
the
all the
snow.
ice off the lake.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I remember people looking there because that was we were living in a complex, and people were just walking by like, this guy's crazy, you know. But yeah, I really enjoyed that because it would be snowing out, and just the whole. Believe it or not, I found that to be easier in a sense than now living in the desert and getting into the ice bath, because at least the walk to the lake.
Right.
Yeah, I
It's
had a
cold.
hoodie on and a hat, but I had shorts on, and you're able to kind of like acclimate to that cold temperature outside already, you know? Whereas now it's like, if it's 115 degrees in the desert and I go from 115 to 31, 32, it's a shock to your system, you know?
Yep. My wife talked to our nephew yesterday. He lives in Tucson. It was 100
Okay.
degrees yesterday.
Oh yeah,
I,
we're in
I
triple digits already.
I
Yeah,
just couldn't. Well, y'all don't have the
yeah,
same humidity we do here. All right, let's get
yeah.
into what you really do and how you help people. You are a coach. He's one
Sure.
of the best. So if you don't need to look any farther, Frank is the guy. Frank, how do you onboard clients and then meet their needs virtually?
Yeah. Well, what I always tell people is, again, I'm a very structured, disciplined person, and that's what I try to coach people on. And the tools that I give people, there's no magic answer. You have to have the drive and the discipline. So first and foremost, I always tell people if you're going to reach out to me, you have to be real with yourself and be
Yeah.
clear that you are truly sick and tired of being sick and tired,
Yeah.
right? And I encourage people to really follow a lot of my content first and to get a feel because this is no cookie cutter thing. There's
Right.
no quick fix. I'm very adamant and against all this peptide craze right now and taking hormones. Although there is a need for it for people at a certain age demographic, but the way that this is getting pushed now is
Yeah.
it's a very scary thing to witness. How you're seeing people in their 20s and 30s starting to mess with their endocrine system, and doctors are prescribing it. So I try to teach people that we have to take the power back into our own hands. So I'll do an inboard. I'll do a I offer free consultations. And from there, I have to make the assessment because, again, my business thrives off of me giving you results and you telling other people.
Right.
So if I could sense off the bat that if a person asks me, like even on the consultation, well, how many cheat days a week do I get? No, I know they're not the right person, because this is a lifestyle. I'm
It
not
is.
training
Yes.
bodybuilders here. There's no such thing as cheat days. This is
Right.
like we're reprogramming the computer here. So the way we see things, it's a completely different perspective of health, wellness, and fitness and longevity. So as you would imagine, that gets a lot of people out of the conversation already because I could tell that a lot of people are just not ready to make changes. They think that
No.
they are,
Yep.
but they're not. You know. And then for the select few that I do choose to work with, it's a beautiful thing because this whole virtual thing, when it comes, now I'm dealing on all principles here. I have the
Right.
8 pillars of health. It's
Right.
first and foremost faith, then fasting, then cold exposure, then farm to table food, sunlight, supplementation, and sleep,
Right.
right? And those are the things that we have to address. Those are the pillars of health that I have to walk people through. And it's a step-by-step process. So even when it comes to the working out, because I'm not training Olympic athletes, my clients just have a tablet, a phone. If they're in the gym, they have the cell phone holder where it has the magnet on it. As
Right.
long as I get a head to toe view of them, we're performing, just as well as the only difference in person is I can't spot you, but I'm not training people with heavy enough weight to where
Right.
they even need spots, right?
Right.
We're working volume when it comes to working out functional movements. We want the body movement, mobility, flexibility, strength. They're mastering their body weight. And then we get into all these other facets. I have them send me daily food logs through my app. I'm monitoring their
Mhm.
food logs. They're giving me, I start them in the cold showers where I work with them on breathing techniques, how to reduce internal and external
Mhm.
stress. Um, my work as a functional diagnostic nutritionist is just that. How do we put the fires out in the body? A lot of us, when we think stress, we think of life, work, the bills, and all that is valid.
Mhm.
But if we're putting things in our body every day that are not supposed to be going in there, things that our body doesn't like for example, I always point out to people, um, one of the biggest things where people go wrong is vegetables. Say a lot of vegetables, oxalates
Mhm.
and lectins. A lot of people can't handle that. But on
Mhm.
paper, if I gave you a blueprint, a PDF of like, oh, these are healthy foods, you would look, oh, spinach, kale, bro, these are all health foods. No, but for some people, that, including myself, that can
Me
cause a
too.
lot of inflammation
Yeah.
in the
Me
body.
too.
Yep, and put a lot of stress on you. So therefore, if you're under stress, your body's pumping cortisol. If your body's pumping cortisol, your adrenals are starting to get whacked out. If your adrenals get whacked out, all of your other hormones domino effect. So we have to start looking at everything here, right? The supplementation. There's very few supplements companies that I use, and then very particular ones that I rely on. I
Yeah.
try to get people out of that mindset too. And most people come to me, the first question they ask, what could I take? Those are all my
Right.
comments on social
Right.
media. I'm like, stop thinking about what you could take and start asking, what can I do? It's a
Right.
different mindset. right?
Yep.
Supplement is supplemental in addition to. There's no magic pill here. So I have to pull people out of that magic pill consciousness and into the more of the doing consciousness. Bruce Lee, knowing is not enough. We must apply. Willing
Yep.
is not enough. We must do. We're living in the day and age where there's no shortage of information, but are you applying it, and are you applying it properly? That's the $1 million question.
Yeah, it's so many people don't want to just have real food. And most of what
Yeah.
we have, it's hard to go anywhere now and have real food. We have to,
Yeah.
like, when I met Frank, he brought a knapsack with all of his own food. Now, fast forward to now, I have that knapsack that you had, and I bring all my own food everywhere I go because I can't
Yeah.
eat out anywhere. I can't eat the food. Now, if you'll speak to that, what real foods? What are the real foods you recommend to people?
Um, predominantly things that do not come in a package, single food ingredients, and things that will, if it's not frozen, things that will go bad in just
Yeah,
a couple of days, right? The longer the shelf life, the
yeah,
shorter yours. That's kind of the rule of thumb, right?
yeah.
Um, so it comes down to the food, but I want to say, and this is not to be, I always say I'm not an alarmist, I'm an alertist.
Right.
And what I want to say to the listeners is that we are under attack. Our food system,
Yes, we are.
the environment, like we're constantly being attacked. And in case you haven't noticed, everything that is readily and easily and accessible to all of us is there to destroy our health and make us
Mhm.
become a slave to the pharmaceutical industry. Okay. I mean, when we get into the political landscape, the pharmaceutical companies are one of the top three donors for both sides, the
Yes.
red and the left side.
Yep.
So, there's an agenda there. The sicker you are and the more dependent, you're a profit margin on a spreadsheet. And I refuse, because growing up, I had the pharmaceutical drug shoved down my throat for the
Yep.
Tourette's. I felt like there was no hope, there was no way out. And I'm here to tell you that there is a way, but you have to take the power back into your own hands, and you have to be willing to find comfort in being uncomfortable,
Yeah.
right? You
Yeah.
have to
Absolutely.
be willing to be comfortable. Like when I met Scott, yeah, it's a pain in the butt traveling with food and all that, but you know what? It's my health. I don't put a price on my health. It is what it is. Everything that I purchase in my life, I'll look at price tags, but my food and my supplements. I just get it.
Yep.
I just get a nice surprise when I hit checkout or I go to the cash register and I'm like, oh man, but it is what it is. Listen, you're gonna spend the money in your life on your health at some point.
Yeah.
There's no
It's
way out of it.
it's pay
You
now
will
or
spend
pay
the money
later.
on your health.
Yeah.
That's it. You will
Sometimes
spend the money.
sometimes I look at that price and go, "Wow, we spent that much." But it's funny. We go to the same hotels because we travel all over the Southeast United States, and the guys always look for the food bag now. So the
Hmm.
guys who are helping us with our stuff, it's like, "What you got in the food bag, man?" And they want to know
Yep.
what's in the bag now. And I'm like,
Yep.
"Boy, have we come a long way." All right,
Yeah.
now it's time to get into it. We're about halfway through this.
Hmm.
Vaccinations. Let's go ahead and get to this. We've got the new midterm virus, is what I like to call it.
Yep.
If you'll notice, every election cycle we have a new illness, and
Yep. Yep.
always remember whoever is providing the cure also probably provided the problem.
Of course.
Frank, what do you recently did a broadcast on this.
Yep.
Speak to that topic right now.
Well, look, I mean, on April 13th of 2026, there's a publication called the Seoul from Seoul, Korea,
Right.
Seoul Times or Seoul Economic. I have the article. It's on one of my videos on. The video is on Facebook. You can find it there on the Tortorici Frank page, as well as the
Right.
Fit Over Pharma and the Instagram. I did it just last week. But in the article, this was published April 13th of 2026. And the article is about how there was like I don't know, a 10, 20 million something dollar grant to Hyundai Motors, who was working with Moderna on a vaccine. And the article goes on that this trial is losing steam because we're in an endemic, and because of the COVID
Right.
is kind of behind us, blah blah. And the last sentence of this article, published on April 13th of 2026, states the hantavirus vaccine is facing elimination due to lack of funding. And this was April 13th. When did this virus start coming to our consciousness? Just what, the
Yeah.
first week of May?
Yeah.
Last week of April? So this was before that. Okay.
And it was
And then there's
mentioned
this
on
other,
it was on a TV show 20 years ago. Actually, 40
yes,
years ago.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So, yeah, keep going.
Yeah,
I apologize
there's
for
no, not at all. But just so everybody know too, actually tomorrow, Wednesday, our new episode of the Overstood Human podcast, we're touching on all this. And
Okay.
you're correct, Scott. We pulled up video from the X-Files,
Yes.
from The Simpsons,
Yes.
and there's a lot to uncover there and unpack. I tell people this: when, for me, my great awakening was 9/11. I was living about a mile and a half from the World Trade Center, and I was on my first juice cleanse, a 3-day juice cleanse. So if you want to talk about like
Wow.
being kind of like
Yeah,
awakening,
you were awake.
so since then, I've always learned that, there's the likelihood of coincidences become less and less and less and less the more questions that you ask, right? So when it comes to this new and improved, this new boogeyman that we're seeing, look, I've been saying it all along, as well as my co-host and everything I say on social media. And if I'm a betting man, I'm sure you probably do behind closed doors to family and friends.
Oh,
But
yeah.
so many people have told me over these last several years, like, dude, COVID is over. Get over it. Put it behind you. Like, stop talking about it. And I'm like, no, that's where you're
Yeah.
wrong.
That's not how
Like,
that works.
COVID was a test run.
Yep.
That was a test run. And if you think that that's it, you're very naive and gullible. I mean, and I've been saying all along, like, something else will come along. I mean, there was a lot of money that was made. There was a
Yeah.
lot of freedoms that were lost. There was permanent psychological warfare that you still
Yeah.
see people walking around with masks. There's still people getting COVID shots, even though the data has showed how useless they are.
Oh, yeah.
But they still go to the doctor and get sold this falsehood. Um, so, you just look at all the trends, the smart cities popping up. There's this whole thing. They're working on a Lyme disease vaccine too.
Yeah.
We could even talk about that, Pfizer, right?
Yeah.
And they're pushing that bad boy through because they didn't even have enough case studies within that trial to
Yeah.
even be able to push it through, but they're pushing it through. And lo and behold, there's videos coming out of farmers, people with land, finding these mysterious boxes on their property. But guess what? Boxes of ticks,
Yep.
right? But just a few months ago, it's going to be a bad season for Lyme disease.
Yeah.
And this vaccine is on track to going public and getting approved by the summer of 2027, next year. So,
Yeah.
all I can say is when there's a product that has zero liability, how do you not step back and question the authenticity and the integrity of the people that are profiting from it?
Yeah, it's funny. I moved to Georgia from RTP. I was right there in the hub, and all my friends worked for all those companies there. And it was interesting to have an inside look. They've all quit since, but it's Agenda 2030. They want to push this through. I always tell people, watch a Mark Wahlberg movie or a John Wick movie. You're going to see how much of this is really real. It's just incredible that people really trust the government, and they trust pharmaceutical companies. Pharmaceutical companies get paid for you to be sick. Frank gets paid for you to be healthy. See the big difference here? Frank helps make you healthy and in shape. It just dumbfounds me that people don't want to believe us. And you and I used to speak at the conferences, so we know all the doctors, we know all the people associated with this. It just amazes me of the lack of wanting to do something about it, I guess. And especially, we have the midterms coming up. Now they wanted to install something again, so they'd have to do all these other things. So let me ask you this, Frank. If someone's gotten a vaccination, is there a detox protocol you recommend?
Scott, there's a lot out there. There's a lot of, like, whether it's the COVID vaccine or just any of the other ones with the heavy metals and the viruses that are in them. And there's a lot of theories. I don't know particularly, I can't say I endorse one specific cleanse. What I endorse is the lifestyle.
Right.
You can't, you're talking layers and layers of an onion that you must peel back, right? You're talking like, right, a vaccine. with my injury, knowing what I know now, what happened, there's a great, great doctor, Lawrence Palevsky. He's been on the
Yes.
forefront of this for about the last 30
Oh,
years.
yeah.
He's a pediatrician in Long Island, New York. This man is doing God's work.
Mhm.
And I remember seeing an interview of his literally about 2 years ago, and it just connected all the dots for me. And he was like, back then in the 80s, especially, which is, again, this is 86 when I had my injury, um, you had thimerosal in those shots.
Yep.
And that thimerosal, along with the virus, breaks the blood-brain barrier. And now it's going into the brain tissue.
Mhm.
So, and then, again, these things store in our fat cells. I personally think too, a lot of people that even got the COVID shot is it's a ticking time bomb. And now you're talking mRNA technology. It's a whole different beast. These aren't even vaccines anymore. This is like transhumanism, what we're seeing. And
Yes.
ironically, this new virus, that's what they're working on, a new mRNA vaccine. So
Yep.
that's not by coincidence either, right?
Right.
Um, but when Palevsky broke that down, it's like this goes so deep into our cells. So we can't look at, oh, what cleanse can I do? I think your lifestyle has to be the cleanse. That's therefore, again, I go back to discipline has no days off. If you want to overcome this matrix of the medical mafia and be fit over pharma, there has to be a lifelong commitment to this, because guess what? There's a lifelong commitment from the other side of the coin to keep you sick and keep you under the grips of the pharmaceutical industries, because as I said
Yeah.
earlier, they are one of the top 3 donors for both political parties.
Yeah, and they own the
So,
insurance companies, they own the nutrition companies, they
yeah.
own the food companies, they own
Yep.
everything. That was the softball I threw
Yep.
to him. I wanted him to go back to lifestyle, and again, I preach it because I teach human programming and I teach quantum physics, and we teach it different ways because he's an expert in nutrition. I am not, but the thing is, lifestyle, lifestyle,
Hmm.
lifestyle. Which brings me
Yep.
back to the way you and Nicole parent. It's not about highs and lows, it's about consistency of lifestyle. People ask me all
Hmm.
the time,
Yeah.
how can I get my child to be successful? Well, you go first. Show them a
Mm.
consistency of patience, strength, you know, be consistent in every single area that you go into, discipline.
Yeah.
So many people, so many parents, I'm writing a parenting book right now. Why? Because so many people don't have discipline. Then we look at
Yep.
your lifestyle. Uh, your son gets up and does what daddy does. Well, what daddy
Yep.
does is a lifestyle that will keep him alive as long as he wants to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah, no, I was gonna say we get, look, my son's in a school 4 days a week, but we do a lot of schooling at home too, especially on, like, we have a schedule. He goes to
right,
school Monday through Thursdays in a private Christian school, but on Fridays we do homeschooling, and on Sundays, and then during the summer we do Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And I've learned that, like, the education really comes from the
yeah,
home. It's the discipline at home, the structure. But you know what I've learned? Look, so many parents get just caught up on that aspect.
yeah,
And as far as I'm concerned, the greatest gift that I can give, any parent can give to a child, is letting them learn the ability to take their health into their own hands. Because as we know as adults, right? Have the nice house, have the nice car, have the nice clothes.
yeah.
If you're in pain and you're sick, is anything enjoyable?
No,
No, like nothing is enjoyable. I mean, I've had clients 20 years younger than me on cholesterol meds, depression medication.
yeah,
Like, that's not enjoyable. So the education, yeah, it's important. And then what's the education? I mean, my goal is once he hits 5th grade, I'm pulling him completely out and going full homeschooling
right,
curriculum, because, and I want him to get the basics, the reading, the writing, the math, and all that. But after that, already he's going into 2nd grade. He's already learned. He already knows what an asset is, what a liability
right.
is, like what the difference is. Like, this is the stuff that, again, because whether it's the medical industry, the educational system, this is all design. I mean, look, it goes to the Rockefeller family, rewriting the medical books, the school
Yeah,
books.
yeah,
John D. Rockefeller's famous statement: "I'd rather have a nation of workers instead of a
hmm,
nation of thinkers."
yeah,
It's all this is the Matrix. Like, that movie, The Matrix, the first one, is very profound. I mean, and you kind of touched on something before that I wanted to say too. All this stuff that happens, they put this stuff in movies also
hmm,
to, I believe this, to desensitize us
yes,
from it when it really happens, when it's happening in life.
Yes.
I'll never forget I think it was the movie Fargo with Ben Affleck, and it was a true
Yes.
story. And he was doing the press junket, and he was talking about how involved the FBI and the CIA was with providing information for this film. And I remember the interviewer asking him, she said something. He was like, "You don't understand." He's like, these organizations, like, they write these Hollywood movies. So
Yeah.
like, you go to Minority Report, you see the way things have like been happening and where they're going. It's all by design. Like, so it's all there. You just have to be able to swallow that pill and accept the fact that
Yeah.
I always say it's like when you were a kid and you had to accept the fact that Santa Claus wasn't real. You have to accept the fact that the people on the television in a suit and tie reading off of a teleprompter are
Mhm.
just following orders, and there's a goal and there's an agenda to keep you obedient, docile, and under their grips. They have to govern you, they have to control you. So we
Uh,
need to
yeah.
overstand that concept.
I tell everybody, if you want to be instantly more healthy, turn the TV off. I don't think
Yeah.
we've watched
Yeah.
TV in 15 years. The only reason I kept the TV was I like Premier League soccer. I like
Hmm.
hockey. It's NHL time, and I'm a Hurricanes
Yeah.
fan. And right now they're
Yep.
tearing it up in the playoffs. Um, but outside of that, I don't watch TV. It was funny because we were going to do this or go back to radio. I stopped
Hmm.
listening to the radio 10 years ago. So why would I go back to a
Yeah.
medium I don't use any longer? Now,
Exactly.
let me ask you this going forward. What is it on a daily basis people can do? Give me three things people can do to make their lives instantly better from a standpoint of energy and focus.
Energy and focus.
Yeah.
The first thing is eat less, but when you eat, make sure you're eating the highest quality forms of food possible, especially essential fatty acids and protein.
Right.
Uh, Muscle is the key organ for longevity. So without amino acids and protein, you will not have quality muscle tissue. So eating less, meaning time restricted eating, if and then intermittently doing longer periods of fasting, 48 hours, 72-hour water fasting, that resets the gut microbiome. There's a lot of data with cancer prevention,
Yes.
neurological, you name it. So that would be one. Getting adequate sunlight is a huge one, especially first thing in the morning or late afternoon. It definitely helps with the circadian rhythm. Our vitamin D production is essential, and when you eat a diet high in essential fatty acids, your body's natural cholesterol production, when it goes into the sun, converts that to vitamin D3.
Yeah.
And your fat cells can actually store that into your cells. So if you live in areas of the country or the world where you have long, cold, dark gray winter months, your body can actually store reserves of vitamin D3 in your body. So eating less, sunlight, and I would say the other one is we have to prioritize sleep. I think that's a huge one that gets overlooked is getting enough sleep. A lot of people say, "Oh, I could function good off of 4 or 5 hours." I don't care if you can, because if you can function good, then my next
Yeah.
question to you is, what are you drinking throughout the day?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I
Yeah.
have energy drinks, coffee, like, caffeine. It's like, so that's not your body thriving naturally on its own. So don't tell me you function good, which is 4 to 5 hours of sleep. Sleep is essential for all everything regenerative and repairing of the human body. It is essential. So those three things I think are the top three takeaways that anyone can take away and start right now once
Let
they
me
finish
let me
listening
follow
to
up
this.
on sleep because I'm in my 60s now.
Mhm.
What is something you can again? They can look this up online, but I want it from you actually. What's a good ritual at night to get ready for bed, get ready for sleep?
Um, uh, that's a tough one because everyone's body is
It's
different,
different.
right? I can give you a couple of things that I think
Yeah.
are great. I think breathing exercises are phenomenal. And what I mean by that, if I tell you guys right now, take 3 aggressive and you just feel that lung expansion.
Right.
Most people, when I have them do that, even on a consultation call, they're like, "Oh my God, like I'm not." You can feel like that difference in your lungs. So a lot of us are going through the day and we're just panic breathing. We're not even breathing properly. And as we know, oxygen is essential for life. So breathing is a great way to bring down stress levels, cortisol levels, and just relax the mind. And there are obviously different breathing patterns that like the Navy SEALs use and like
Right.
different organizations like that to fall asleep faster and deeper. But I would say breathing before bed is essential. You can do compression boots on your legs. That has a nice effect, calming effect for sleep. You can purchase an acupressure mat that you can lay on 15 to 20 minutes before bed.
Mhm.
So all these things are really crucial. So I like all those types of modalities. Definitely do not eat close to bed. You want to try to make sure you've had your last bite of food at least 3 to 4 hours before bed, so your body doesn't have to digest
Right.
anything. Um, and I think the most important thing is make sure the blue lights on your phone, television, if you're watching that at night, like make sure all that is really at a bare minimum. And I think those are crucial. You know,
Yeah, it's funny, and you're teaching this to your son now. It's amazing if all of us could teach this. He's what, 8?
he'll be 8. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and golly, it's hard. I've gotten older. I can say that now because I've watched Frank's son get older, which means I got older. It's a shame we
Me
can't
too.
watch him get older and we don't age with him.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
think about what he's going to be able to do for your grandchildren. And I think
yeah.
about too is because he's got friends, he's going to be able to teach his friends what to do.
Yeah,
Because look,
he's already doing it.
your 40s, late 40s. This reminds me of when Bill O'Reilly interviewed Suzanne Summers. They were the same age,
Mm,
and he
okay.
refuted everything she said in their book, which all of her stuff was true. And
Yep.
he goes, "Okay, folks, look at her photo. Look at mine. Who looks better?" Well, she did, of course. And it's like when you go speak. Okay, you're in your late 40s, and I always tell people, if you want to measure yourself on how you're aging, look at someone who's your age that doesn't look like you. And
Yeah,
thank God at my age I still have hair. But
yeah,
it's what do you want out of life? I ask people all the time, what do you want? People come to you. Hopefully you can help clarify. They think they want it, but to come to you and to work with you, you got to want it. There is no in between. There's no
100%.
halfway. There's no day off
No,
with you. It's either you're
no.
completely in or you're completely out.
Yeah. And look, I try to tell people too. I mean, a big chunk of what I do too is I have to meet people with where they're at. And
Yeah,
and look, not all of my 8 pillars are going to be able to be applied by every person. Different strokes for different folks.
right,
So I'm aware of that. But if I can get somebody to take 4 out of the 8 pillars and implement them, we're doing really good, right?
right.
So um, the key is though is most people are going through life um, winging it when it comes to their health.
Yeah,
No preparation, no planning, and they just wing it. So if I just could even get people to start being aware of their actions, I've already done a great deal for them, right? But it's just you just said it. How bad do you want it? I mean, it's very simple. I mean, most people, if they want something materialistic, they'll work extra hours. If they'll save money to go on a vacation. So listen, I always tell people this. Everybody that I talk to is disciplined in their own way.
right.
It's just a matter
Yeah,
of where you applying that discipline,
yeah, yeah. Hey, man, thanks so
you
much for
know?
coming by today. Now, Fit Over Farm is how they reach you. Right now, are
Correct.
you booked out too far, or can you still take clients?
I have a little bit of a waiting list, but I'm
Okay.
trying, I have different ways of coaching people. So, like I said, I mean, this world is we're trying to do God's work here. So I try to help as many people as I can, like that's just my mindset.
Well, you didn't know this, but I'm getting ready to be one of your clients. I have to go to the
All right.
Carrick Institute for some brain therapy, and once that therapy's done, I'll be able to sign up with you.
Sounds good, Scott. Look
Yeah,
forward
see,
to it.
Frank's one of the only people I trust in the industry, so I have to go to Frank because he's my brother and I trust him with my life. Hey, man, promise me this. Will you come back and chat with us again?
100%. It's always a pleasure.
All
It's
right,
always a
brother.
pleasure.
Fit Over
Absolutely.
Farm is how you reach Frank. Go to his website, read his pillars. I've got all 8 in front of me. You can't go wrong with these. If you just wrote down what he said today, your life gets much better instantaneously. All right, Frank, tell the family I say hello and much love to everybody.
Will do.
All right,
Thank you,
take care,
Scott.
brother.
Thanks again.
All right,
Bye-bye.
folks. Thanks. Thank Frank. Go by his website. We've just got a few more minutes. I got to get to the mailbag. Also, if you have any questions for me, if you want to give a question to the mailbag, it's show@scottferrell.com. Also, if you need our services, I do have a consulting company. We do individuals, families, and business. It's scotferrell.com. It's the same spelling you've got there on the screen. All right, let me get to the mailbag because sometimes people get irritated if I don't get to that part. I don't have my card today. I just have a sheet of paper. Ran out of time. All right, here's the first question. Who is it? Okay. This is nice. I get this question a lot, actually. How can I figure out if the person I'm dating is the right one? Okay. Well, the first thing is, I tell people this with dating all the time. What do you want? Just like Frank said a second ago, what is it you really want? Most people go into dating hoping somebody will want to date them. Instead of, this is what I want, this is who I want to marry, this is who I want to build a life with. So before you even go on the date, you have to say, what do I want? Okay. What's that look like? Could I write that out in terms of items? So before I met my wife, I wrote out 100 characteristics I wanted in the next person I dated. And, you go on a trial date. So you have to go on one date to see if they fit the list. Well, a few people actually fit the list, but I had to get the one that God wanted me to have. So how can I figure that out? Well, I write out a list of all the characteristics I want in the next person that I'm going to spend time with because I didn't like dating. I didn't really enjoy it. It's not that I don't like meeting people. I was just ready to figure out, okay, this one, I'm good with continuity, right? So wrote out the characteristics, and about 3 weeks later, as soon as I wrote this out, I met my wife. So what are you doing? I figured out what I wanted. I figured out what I wanted to do on a day-to-day. Remember, whoever you date's whoever you marry. You got to, unless you get drunk in Vegas and you're Britney Spears and just marry somebody. So whoever you're dating, you're going to marry, and chances are, hopefully, you're marrying that person to spend the rest of your life with them. Well, why wouldn't you write out a list of what you wanted? Okay, I serve a God that can operate outside of time and space, and my God can make anything come true. So when I made my list out, I didn't doubt the fact that God could bring that person to me. The problem was me, because once I made the 100 things, I had to sit and go, okay, self-evaluation time now. Am I those 100 things? Because if I'm going to ask an individual to be something, I have to be that. I have to be what I'm asking for. It's not fair. So it's like if I'm asking my wife to look good, I have to look good. For my wife to do something, I have to do it. So a lot of people don't want to do the second part of this system. All right, I'll write out everything I want because this is all about me. No, I've got to write out, okay, once I do it, I draw a line and go, am I all these things? People don't like to reflect on what they're not because a lot of people don't like to be wrong. Boy, do I get a lot of clients who don't like to be wrong. One of my clients asked me how I lived without a heart in my body. And now she loves me and texts me and asks how I'm doing. But I don't operate in feeling, I operate in fact. And see, when you're looking for someone to date, only operate in fact, not feeling. Feelings change, endorphins change. All these things change from millisecond to millisecond. Happiness is fleeting from second to second. But facts are not going to change. Here's the facts. Here's what I'm looking for. Here's what I want. I'm going to ask for it. Okay? Little anecdotal there. All right, let me get to the next one because this one's a very important one. My parents constantly put me down. I'm not going to use the name on this one because this really is a sensitive topic. What do I do? Wow. It's amazing how many people I meet now, being in my 60s, that lived through this, or when I went back to my high school reunion 30 year, I got a lot of this. People would come up and talk to me about this because I was on the radio then, and they'd listen to my show. And our show was set up like Dr. Fraser Crane. If you've seen Fraser, you call in. I have 3 minutes to solve it. Take a breath. While you're in the environment, I'm assuming this is 0 to 18 or 18 past. It doesn't really matter because if you got a parent putting you down, chances are they continue it. You always have to realize something. They're not you. You're not them. You always have to take into account how they were programmed. Look at your grandma and grandpa, look at your great-grandma and grandpa, or your aunts and uncles. All right, how were they programmed? And remember, most people aren't programmed by God. They're programmed by Satan. I teach human programming all the time, 0 to 7, 7 to 13, 13 to 18. And we mature from 0 to 2, 3 to 5, 5 to 8, 8 to 13, and then 13 to 18. And I do seminars this on all the time, and they're going to treat you normally. Not all, there is no absolute here. Normally, the way they were treated. So if they're treating you this way, chances are grandma or grandpa treated them this way. And if they're still alive, you can see this. So what you have to do is say, okay, no, I'm not going to believe this. I have a creator. His name's God. What did my creator, what did Yeshua say about me? Why did he go to the cross to buy back my life? Well, that means I'm worth something. If Yeshua went to the cross, shed his blood, and was resurrected for me, then I'm worthy of this. So what is it? And then you have to sit and go, okay, I hear all the noise because I grew up in this environment. My parents actually told me I was a mistake and did not want me. That was not a lot of fun to hear. But it freed me to explore life, right? So all you have to do is sit and go, okay, if Jesus was here in front of me, what would he say to me? Now, you can read that Bible. It's 66 books. It's, 37 and 29. What did Yeshua say about you? Why did he go to the cross? What's he want for you? All right, there's umpteen thousand scriptures there that tell you what he wants from you, how he feels about you, what he would say to you. And a lot of times, Jesus will appear to people and tell them those very things. So it's who are you going to believe? Your Father in heaven or your earthly whoever it is that's putting you down? You got to turn the noise down somewhere, right? So I'm going to go with who loves me, not who's putting me down. Now, chances are people that put people down, just think of it this way. People that put others down don't feel very good about who they are. They have zero self-esteem. Why? Because it's a front. Why do people bully people? Well, bullies normally have the lowest self-esteem because it's the only way they can operate in this world and make sense of it. I teach people this all the time. So tune out the noise over here. Go back over to the Bible and say, okay, I got 66 opportunities, books in the Bible, to see how Yeshua feels about me. Why was I worth it? Why was I worth all the pain? If you don't understand that pain, go watch Mel Gibson's movie, Passion of the Christ, and you'll see what Jesus really went through to accomplish this. But know that you're not alone, because most of the people I meet nowadays have lived this and get constantly put down by their parents. But then, just like me, I had to go, okay, when I got saved, I said, what did Yeshua say about me? I think I'll go with how he feels about me. If I go with how he feels about me, then I can't go wrong, because now I'm lockstep with him, Holy Spirit, and my Creator. And now I can be a whole person, because we can't be whole if we believe there's flaws in who we are. Now, we are flawed. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the constant put down of what you're not. You're fat, you're stupid, you're lazy, you're short, you're incompetent, I wish I'd never had you, I don't love you. All the things that can be said by parents. Block it out and go, all right, Jesus, speak to me. All right, I hope that helped. Now, remember, if you have anything you want to add to the mailbag, it's show at scotferrell.com. Also, if you need my help personally, I do things for people all over the world. It's scotferrell.com. Spelling's up there. All right. Take a look. Fit Over Pharma. That's Frank. He's my brother from another mother. Until next time, guys, I hope you have a wonderful week. Take care.